He's earned his chance to fight for that belt. Now imagine that Khamzat is here in the United States preparing for that fight with Chimaev. That would be my guess if I am thinking about what's next. But the reality is, one, how difficult is it going to be for him to get back down to 185? Because I'm telling you, he looks massive next to Roundtree. Two, how will he compete when he's back down there? And three, how does Chimaev deal with the size of Khamzat Chimaev at this point? Because while Chimaev was a 185 pounder, Khamzat was at 170. Chimaev looks like the bigger guy. He looks like the much bigger fighter. Now, I'm telling you, you guys have to watch that training footage. He looks like a monster at over 200 pounds. Khamzat Chimaev also has the Sean Strickland issue to deal with at 185. These guys cannot stand each other. Look, guys, when you are two athletes of the highest caliber and you have trained together and you have fought in sparring, one of those guys knows, or someone knows exactly what happened. But as most say, what happens in the gym stays in the gym.
We've seen Khamzat Chimaev fight at welterweight. We see him fight at middleweight. Is he someone that if he says, hey, I want to fight at light heavyweight, we'd see him fight at light?
I'd like to see him defend his title at a weight first. Yeah, I'd like to see him defend his title. Where he talks about jumping around from, you know, you're going to keep going up in weight divisions without defending. Yeah.
So here's the situation that's got everyone talking. Sean Strickland just dropped some serious words, and you know how he operates. This guy never holds back and says exactly what's running through his head. Consequences be damned. He's openly pushing for this massive fight that has the entire MMA community going absolutely wild with excitement.
I mean, he works his ass off. The guy can fight. He's a world champion, you know, but just because you can fight and just because, like, it doesn't really mean, like, doesn't make you like a man, you know? And there's these moments when, like, you see kind of like past, hey, I could fight, he works his ass off, like Costa. It just...
Meanwhile, Khamzat Chimaev is doing what he does best, staying quiet but getting back to that brutal training routine with focus. That's honestly scary to watch. Social media is lighting up with training clips of him absolutely destroying himself in the gym, pushing every limit he has, and it's only adding fuel to all the rumors about some serious main event being cooked up by UFC brass behind the scenes.
Super cool with Sean Strickland. He's been saying some stuff in interviews about, he just didn't like your approach. Just why do you think he's saying that, and do you have a response?
I don't know. When I was there, they never said anything, you know. When I leave the Vegas and when they stop my visa, he started to talk. When I come back, I'm in LA, bro. Come on. If it's something personal for you, just come. I'm here.
What really stands out here is how Khamzat's team isn't saying a word or posting updates anywhere. He's moving like this massive showdown isn't just possible or likely, but completely inevitable. The man is quietly building his arsenal, fine-tuning everything in complete silence, and that quiet confidence says everything about how ready he is for what's coming.
Khamzat Chimaev must fight Sean Strickland next. Guys, there's no debate. And I had 24 hours to think about this, because here's what I don't want to do. I got to tell you, as an authority figure in this sport, I don't want to pan him on up. I don't want to do that. I respect him. I respect what he's done. I respect his patience. But Sean Strickland fought him in head-to-head competition. Now, a couple of things came out. I am behind the scenes, and I can tell you, guys tiptoe around Chimaev. Guys are scared of Chimaev. He has a presence. Sean Strickland Said, man, I used to be in the gym with this guy. He's a punk. Ask the people that were there. Sean Strickland said, when I come into a gym, I go find the biggest, baddest dude, and that's who I spar with. When Chimaev comes in the gym, he finds the easiest opponent, takes him in the corner, and beats the hell out of him.
But hold up. Training hard isn't the only way Khamzat is handling Sean's constant callouts that keep flooding interviews and social platforms. In a move that absolutely set the internet on fire and had fans going crazy across every channel, he straight up told Strickland to chill and wait until his visa problems get sorted through all the proper legal channels.
Disrespected everything that Fluffy Hernandez did. Fluffy Hernandez beat 9 men in a row. If Fluffy Hernandez beat Sean Strickland, that would be 10 in a row. 10 is the biggest number in the history of the UFC that anybody's had to do to get a title shot, and that distinction belongs to Merab. But to remind you, Merab was offered a title fight after 7. So the point that I'm making, if Fluffy Hernandez would have won and he would have gotten a title, we're being very disrespectful to the 9 men that Fluffy beat. We're being very disrespectful to the opportunity that Fluffy should have had. And when you play this game, it's the ultimate poker hand. You're all in. Whatever you got is on the line. You got a belt, it's on the line. It doesn't matter if you're undefeated and this guy's lost 5 fights. It doesn't matter if you're ranked number 1 and he's ranked number 8. When you get in there, it's all on the line, winner take all. Sean Strickland took it.
And once all that bureaucratic nonsense clears up and the paperwork gets handled, they'll handle their business where talking stops mattering. Right there in that brutal Octagon, exactly how a war this serious needs to get settled when 2 elite killers have real hatred brewing between them. It's both a promise and a threat wrapped into one, showing he respects the process while making it totally obvious that this collision is coming no matter what.
Second, though, I do want to say I was with Khamzat last week on the Jackson podcast, and Khamzat Chimaev told me that he is 240 pounds, right? What do you weigh right now, Khamzat? What do you weigh? Come on.
You can keep it a secret if you want. I don't know.
That is gigantic. That is a good weight for a heavyweight, let alone a middleweight that fights at 185 pounds, 84 kilos. That would be a 55-pound weight cut that he has to go through. And by the way, he didn't look fat. He looked to be in really good shape, and he's down there in Newport Beach, California, training, running on the beach every single day. The man is working out hard, but there's no talks of a title fight. In fact, I asked him, who will you be fighting? And he said, brother, I don't know.
Now, if you want to hear from another expert about this developing war, the legendary Chael Sonnen, a guy famous for breaking down fights better than almost anyone alive, said with complete certainty that Khamzat's next fight has to be, no questions asked, against Sean Strickland. He's absolutely convinced there's zero reason for more discussion or debate about this topic. No argument to be made about who's earned this opportunity.
There certainly is some words, and Sean Strickland has beaten him before, beaten via decision. The reality is, who deserves it more? I don't know. Sean's only on a 1-fight win streak, but he is a former champion. Imavov hasn't done that, right? The reality is, Chimaev has got to fight one of them. I know he's talking about going up to 205, or he's thinking about going up to 205, and making 185 from 240 pounds will be very hard, okay? But I would love to see him in there with Strickland, certainly when he says that he choked him out multiple times, and his lightweight training partner choked him out a bunch of times. And then you've got Strickland calling him a Chechen and all this type of stuff, right? Talking a lot of shit, talking a lot of smack, not afraid to poke the bear, shall we say, right? That fight's got to happen. I want to see it. You want to see it. The whole world would love to see it, right? So I think he's got to...
Sonnen even revealed he spent a full day really thinking through every angle and consequence, making sure he wasn't letting personal relationships or bias cloud what actually made sense for the division and the sport overall. He brought up the fascinating dynamic of how other fighters act around Khamzat, noting that the man carries this almost intimidating energy wherever he goes, this vibe that makes other competitors visibly uncomfortable.
Is he the contender, do you think, next for the title in your mind that could potentially have the most challenge to Khamzat out of the possible contenders right now?
Oh, it's hard to say. Like, I definitely think he has an argument now, especially because he's beaten Chimaev and because of the way he put away Fluffy. But honestly, it's anybody's guess. You know, it's anybody's guess. The title fights and like contenders and that whole conversation is just so, random.
This is where Chael even referenced what Sean has been saying publicly, including their old training sessions from way back. During those gym wars, Sean was always hunting for the toughest sparring partners and controlling the pace, driving the intensity through the roof. But according to Strickland's version, Khamzat would sometimes take easier rounds, choosing lighter work when things got really brutal. This just adds another layer to the competing stories and viewpoints.
I mean, I know you've been in there with Khamzat, man, and Sean Strickland's taking defense is pretty good, but we haven't seen him in there against, like, would you say Fluffy and Khamzat, it's two different levels when it comes to the grappling, would you say, like in terms of the way, the strength, and yeah.
Absolutely night and day. Like, having been in there with Chimaev and seen, and everyone who saw what he did to Drickus, like, it's not the same. It is not the same.
But there's way more to Sonen's breakdown, because he also dove into the much bigger picture and implications of a potential war like this one. Sonen, with that passion and fire that only he brings, shared his belief that when you just skip over a fighter who has legitimately earned their shot through blood and sweat in the Octagon, you're not just disrespecting that individual warrior's dedication and sacrifice to their craft. It goes much deeper than that, and this is where things get really compelling. You're also completely invalidating every single fighter they had to crush and overcome, just to reach that earned position in the rankings. He backed this up with a powerful example, discussing how challenging it is to build legitimate winning streaks in the UFC, which is incredibly tough to accomplish.
Even Sean Strickland should be the next middleweight title shot in the division, and I'm going to tell you why in today's video. My name is James Lynch. So Sean Strickland getting a huge win last weekend at UFC Houston in the main event, taking out Anthony Fluffy Hernandez by knockout. It was a picture-perfect performance here from Strickland, getting the third round finish, stopping Hernandez and his 8-fight win streak, and solidified himself as a contender in the weight class. And right now, at the time we're talking, there is not a fight booked yet for Khamzat Chimaev. There's been a couple rumors out there, but you heard Strickland after his fight with Fluffy Hernandez. We'll play a little snippet of it here. He talks about what he wants next when Michael Bisping asks him, and Strickland doesn't hesitate, talks about Chimaev. We're going to watch that clip here real quick.
Next show, I don't know, man. Chimaev probably gets off the bench here. I'd like a piece of that little Chechen, but you never know with him, bro.
Yeah, so you can see there, he wants this fight. And then to go even further, Strickland at his media scrum before, of course, he was cut off, which I'm not a fan of, talks about how he made Chimaev quit in training. Now, I'm not usually a fan of fighters revealing things in the gym. I think that's bad practice, but this is only
a winning streak represents so much about a fighter's skill, consistency, and heart when facing serious adversity. His message was crystal clear: when a fighter steps into a main event, puts everything on the line, and comes out victorious, that carries massive weight and meaning in this sport. In this particular situation, Sonnen won decisively against quality opposition, and clearly has legitimately earned the right to face the champion. Sean Strickland has to be pumped, but guess who else is completely supporting this fight with serious enthusiasm? Former UFC champion and legendary commentator Michael Bisping, who understands this business inside and out. Bisping mentioned he recently spoke with Chimaev directly, and here's the crazy part: Chimaev is currently walking around at a massive 240 pounds, which is absolutely enormous. Bisping, knowing the brutal weight-cutting process from his own championship days, emphasized this is extreme for someone whose primary competition division is the 185-pound middleweight class. He stressed that dropping that incredible amount of weight, we're talking 55 pounds, represents an extremely grueling process, something only truly understood by fighters who've experienced it personally. However, and this is crucial to grasp, he quickly clarified that Chimaev is not soft or out of condition at that weight. Instead, he is training with incredible intensity and focus in California, working with elite-level partners. Still, despite this rigorous preparation and clear readiness, no confirmed championship fight is currently scheduled for him at middleweight, which is honestly strange. Given this weird situation, Bisping strongly believes that Chimaev's primary focus should be defending his current belt rather than considering a different weight class move right now, because that's what champions do. He kept going with his detailed analysis, breaking down the complicated situation with Sean and other middleweight threats in the picture, like the dangerous Nasruddin Imavov, who's been rising through the ranks impressively. Bisping acknowledged Imavov is a skilled, quick, talented fighter with real championship possibilities, but he specifically emphasized a key fact that changes everything. Sean Strickland has already defeated him decisively in the Octagon. Then came a direct question, slicing right to the core of the issue and revealing the clear answer. Bisping wondered who has earned it more based on actual performance. He immediately reminded everyone watching that, while Sean is currently riding a solid winning streak that cannot be dismissed, he's also proven himself against elite competition, which adds serious weight and credibility to this discussion. Finally, Bisping wraps up with that same clear reality that's staring everyone right in the face. Chimaev absolutely must face a top-level middleweight next. That's non-negotiable, and importantly, the Sean fight is exactly what the fans are screaming for across every social media platform. And the explanation is obvious. Because of the real and clear hatred building between them, that makes this deeply personal, not just professional. When the conversation naturally moved from the politics of who deserves which title opportunity to the brutal realities of how this potential war would actually unfold, Whitaker stuck to his core point with serious determination and belief. He admitted, being completely fair and honest, that Sean has genuinely solid takedown defense that has worked extremely well for him throughout his entire career. It's a great skill he uses effectively against most fighters in the division, but, and this is a massive but that needs to be understood, facing Chimaev is a completely different beast entirely. A totally different story from anything Sean has likely encountered in his whole fighting career. Whitaker's view comes from real, personal experience of being locked in that octagon with Khamzat, trapped inside that cage with him, absorbing his relentless pressure round after round. He also emphasized Khamzat's total domination of his opponents, with a degree of control that's extremely rare, making it completely clear that the sheer power and unmatched skill of Khamzat's grappling is totally unlike anything, and I mean completely anything, that Sean Strickland has encountered throughout his career facing mostly strikers. Another respected voice in the MMA community, Big John McCarthy, a legendary referee and analyst who has witnessed thousands of fights, has repeatedly argued from the very beginning that the next middleweight fight, the bout everyone needs to see, has to be Strickland versus Chimaev. For McCarthy, it was completely obvious when you examine the landscape, Sean, right after his dominant victory that left zero doubt about his abilities, immediately called out Khamzat, the current champion, who right now lacks a definite opponent waiting in the wings. This represents a perfect alignment of timing and opportunity that rarely shows up so clearly in this business. The conversation also covered the possibility of Khamzat moving up to the 205-pound light heavyweight division, which has been mentioned as an option. McCarthy strongly argued that Khamzat has just recently captured the middleweight title through his dominance and hasn't even defended it one single time. His firm belief maintains that real champions have a fundamental duty and obligation to defend their belt first, before even considering another weight class or legacy-building opportunities. He clearly expressed his preference for keeping Khamzat busy and competing at 185 pounds, where he just claimed the title. He then smartly pointed out how quickly and harshly fans and analysts attack other inactive title holders across various divisions, and wondered why Khamzat shouldn't face that exact same strict standard of responsibility. After McCarthy's convincing arguments about divisional integrity, Brendan Schaub, another prominent media figure, jumped in about Imavov's potential title opportunity, and the logic was simple. Schaub noted that Sean has already beaten him convincingly, and importantly, Sean is clearly the bigger attraction from a business standpoint, a critical factor in today's fight game that cannot be overlooked. Schaub explained the UFC definitely thrives because of its stars who move pay-per-views, particularly American ones, who resonate with the massive US audience, and this matchup is, as he put it, ready to happen because it makes business sense. He confidently stated Sean would gladly take the fight immediately, mainly because he finished his last bout practically untouched, taking no serious damage while in perfect physical condition. Schaub went even further, predicting that if Sean manages to defeat Khamzat decisively, the UFC would suddenly have an absolutely massive American star in their roster, someone who could anchor huge events. This factor, Schaub constantly stressed, represents the major commercial element that promoters definitely cannot overlook. It's pretty obvious why Sean has specifically targeted Khamzat as his next opponent, instead of anyone else in the division. Sean has just proven beyond any doubt that he remains one of the elite fighters worldwide, a legitimate top contender who deserves championship discussions. Plus, he is a guaranteed crowd draw, whether fans love him for his brutal honesty or honestly can't stand him for his controversial opinions. And Khamzat in this situation is the perfect high-profile opponent to completely capitalize on all this current explosive momentum and attention surrounding both warriors. In the end, all of this really boils down to perfect timing and an absolutely unstoppable force that's driving this fight toward reality. Sean has just delivered a powerful statement to all his critics, clearly showing what he brings as a competitor. He effectively silenced his doubters with his performance, looked sharper and better than ever in his recent appearance, and everything keeps pointing in one direction. At the same time, Khamzat stands as the champion without a clear definitive next challenger in sight, which creates the perfect conditions. The story for this clash has been perfectly built through their back-and-forth exchanges and shared history. The tension is genuinely real, not created by promotion, and their contrasting fighting styles are truly significant from a technical standpoint, guaranteeing an explosive spectacle for viewers. Sean's relentless aggressive pressure and crisp high-volume striking, matched against Khamzat's devastating grappling and raw power, creates a deeply fascinating test for both of these incredible athletes. There's no sign that this massive excitement and anticipation will fade anytime soon. If you book it immediately, and by that I mean right now, it looks like a truly enormous event with huge consequences. And in a fight like this, when something feels genuinely special, exciting, and makes complete logical sense from every perspective, you don't hesitate or overthink the choice. You make the fight, you sign the contracts, and you let these two warriors settle their differences where it counts most. And these two are right in their career prime, and both firmly believe they're the planet's best middleweight. There's no need to overcomplicate this incredible opportunity with extra fights or unnecessary delays that accomplish nothing. Fans really want clarity in the division hierarchy, and this fight provides exactly that understanding. It promises to answer real pressing questions that demand resolution. Can Sean stop Khamzat's relentless takedowns? Will Khamzat survive Sean's exhausting pace for 5 brutal rounds? This is exactly why this fight carries such enormous importance in the division. So tell us in the comments below, who do you think takes this epic battle when these two finally collide?